Hola, soy Lola. No puedo contestar tu llamada. Hoy voy a luchar contra la máscara vengadora. Si gano, usaré el dinero para pagar por nuestro plan familiar de datos. Claro, pesa 300 libras, pero una vez tomé una clase de karate. Quizá ya es hora de un switch.
¿Atrapado en un mal plan familiar? Haz el switch al mejor plan familiar de Boost y obtén 4 líneas cada una con gigas sin límite por solo $100 al mes. Metro PCS solo te da 2 gigas por línea por el mismo precio. 4 líneas cada una con gigas sin límite por solo $100 al mes. Es fácil hacer el switch y más fácil ahorrar con Boost.
You're tuning into a Goldilocks Productions presentation of the InnerSpeak Soul Adventures radio show with Jean Adrienne. Jean is the creator of InnerSpeak, a method for clearing karmic and ancestral blocks. She's the author of 4 books and 2 decks of metaphysical clearing and activation cards. Jean offers private sessions via phone or Skype, as well as her office located in Blairsville, Georgia. Call in now to reserve your spot on the switchboard. The call-in number is 657-383-1895. Enjoy this soul-healing show.
Good afternoon. Happy Monday. I'm Jean Adrienne, and I'm your host for InnerSpeak Soul Adventures. And we've got another great show lined up for you today. And, as always, I will be providing for your listening pleasure InnerSpeak clearings using the InnerSpeak cards. And if you are not familiar with those cards, stay tuned, and you're going to get a chance to see what that's all about. But if you are familiar, but you haven't already gotten your free subscription to the online version of my cards, please feel free to go to my website, jeanadrienne.com, and sign up for my newsletter. When you do that, when you opt into my newsletter list, you'll get a free subscription to the online version of these cards that I use every week. And you can use them even if you don't like my newsletter. You can always opt out and still continue to use those cards as long as you so desire. I never share my list with anyone else, so it's safe. And this is a free gift to you from me. But I've got a guest today with me because I want to share with you another way of changing your life through your own personal empowerment. My guest today is Craig Waldron. He is a handwriting analyst. He uses a technique called scriptotherapy to assist you in looking at areas of your life that he can help you to identify by looking at your handwriting. And then once he's identified the areas where you are energetically blocked, he can work with you and he can coach you into changing your handwriting through simple homework exercises to have a very positive impact on your reality. So welcome, Craig.
Hey.
Hi, how are you?
Hello. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, I'm really happy to have you because I have found that your work is quite profound. I mean, who would have thought that by changing my signature, I would be able to perceive a marked difference in my reality and how I get along with other people and how other people get along with me. I mean, I'm just kind of blown away by that. So, Craig, how did you get into this?
So I was much like I think everyone is, and that is we don't think about our handwriting. And somebody was doing a presentation professing, hey, I can look at your handwriting, I can help you, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, oh, this is going to be fun to disprove this right away. So I was at a conference, stopped by the booth that she had there, gave her a handwriting sample, and she gave me an exercise to do that night. She says, if you do this tonight, you'll sleep better. I thought, oh, brother. So I actually did it, and I actually slept better than I had for like 6 months. And so I was down there the next day talking with her, and it just took off from there. And went through the training, got certified, and had a lot of fun ever since.
And I don't think that probably at that time you had any idea that this was going to be your passion, that you were going to actually build a career on it, did you?
No, I didn't. I was at the time more in the, so basically the last 20 years or so I spent in my own accounting and tax business, and finally from a wake-up call that I'll call it the near-death experience, I knew that I could not do that anymore. I had to get out of that. It made it so that I couldn't run that kind of a business, working the kind of schedule I used to work. And through a series of experiences I had subsequent to that, this whole handwriting thing just opened up and has been moving forward ever since. And I'm seeing more and more applications for it.
Cool. Well, that's fantastic. And, I would have been, you could have knocked me over with a feather, let's just say, that you could make a change in your handwriting and have it affect what you see in front of you. How does that work?
Well, so our handwriting basically creates a program, much like a computer program helps you do certain things on the computer. Our handwriting is the way we program our energy flows in our body on a conscious level. Right now we send out all kinds of messages. We're not even aware that we're doing that, and people might be put off by being around us, or being able to have relationships be a certain way is more difficult. We may be doing things in our handwriting, causing ourselves problems that we don't realize that we're doing that. So
I found that to be true when I sent you my handwriting sample. Then you just looked at my signature and you go, wow, you shut other people out of your life. No wonder you can't have a relationship. And I'm like, what? How did you know that? And it was by the way I was just kind of scribbling instead of taking the time to be present and write my signature. I was kind of jamming everything all up in my first name. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had an interesting experience. I was actually ordering food about a week ago, and for some reason the handwriting thing came up when I was placing the order. And when I went to pick up my order, the girl says, "Hey, can you look at my handwriting?" The person that worked there, I said, "Well, sign your name." We took a look at it, and I said, "Hey, what's going on with your leg? Because it looks like you got a problem there." And she looked at me like, "How did you know? My leg's just killing me," because it showed up in her handwriting. So there's all kinds of things can show up. And the great thing is there's changes you can make in your handwriting to help make changes, not only from the way things go relationship-wise, money, but also health.
That's amazing. I think – go ahead.
Yeah. The other thing is anything that a person's doing to help their life, whether it be, working with you or other things, or they're enrolled in a class to learn something, the handwriting can help them make all those things work even better.
And how would that be?
So let's say, for example, one of the letters that they're working with, say it's a small letter I, and they're not dotting their I, so therefore usually they're missing details that they need in their life. And so by simply starting to dot the I right over the top of it, it makes them focus on the details more than they normally would have. Or maybe they're not good at completing things that they're involved in. Well, one of the things that prevents them from completing things is by the way they cross the small letter T, which they actually want to cross it at the top. Sometimes when the letter T is crossed, it's up above the top of the vertical line, or maybe it's down in the middle. All those things impact your ability to complete things. That's just a couple of areas.
That's really quite interesting. So, listeners, Craig's website is professionallifesolutions.com. You can go there and you can request a consultation with him. You also will get a free gift if you sign up for his newsletter, just like you get a free gift when you sign up for mine. So again, that's professionallifesolutions.com. And if you're listening and you're wanting to get an InnerSpeak clearing today, you can call on in now. The number is area code 657-383-1895. 5. And when you call in, be sure to press 1 until you get the acknowledgement from the little automated British lady saying you are now in the host queue, because sometimes when I do this and I press 1, nothing happens, and so I have to press it a couple of times. So just so you know. So Craig, so you said about the small letter T. Now, one of the ones that I know that you have had that you can affect change with is also the letter G. How does that one work?
So the small letter G has to do with a lot of things. Big thing is it has to do with money and how money works in a person's life. If they leave the bottom of the G, the loop, open, that indicates how money works in that person's life is money goes out as fast as it comes in, and they don't get the most efficient use out of their money when that's left open, versus if they close that loop and bring it clear back up to the baseline, the line we write on, that makes it so they get maximum use of their money. The other thing about the small letter G would be if they have a big loop on the bottom, that would indicate they want change, they want to travel. And so if a person's got a big loop and their life is just, they're having too much activity, then they can just make the size of that loop smaller.
Interesting.
Then,
okay, so you made me aware of that, and I think like all of us, I would like to have more money in my life, and so I've been very cognizant of how I make that letter G. And it wasn't one of the letters you gave me as homework, but I've just been, because I've heard you talk before, I have been doing that to bring more money in, but I'm still experiencing a block. Is there something else that I might do that could affect my inflow of money?
Sure. So there may be other lower looping letters, like say the Y, and if that loop is left open, that could impact it as well.
Okay. So I need to make sure all of my lower looping letters are taken all the way back up to the baseline, right?
Right. With one exception. So if a person makes, say, their lower looping letter and their line just goes straight down and there's no loop at all, then that's an indication that the person needs to take a break. I mean, a physical, mental break from what they're doing more often. I mean, ideally, go on a vacation kind of thing, because you can't correct that issue by changing the way you write the letter. You have to actually take a break from what you're doing. It might be something as simple as, a 20-minute, go for a walk in nature for 20 minutes in a day. But ideally, they need to take a little more time off to take care of themselves. Yeah.
Because I don't think I do that. So I need
from
to
what I
check
recall
that.
in years, I don't remember seeing that.
Okay. And I did just take a nice vacation, so.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So are there any other? Okay, go ahead.
So the other thing, if you finish the first exercise, then you may want to just start doing the small letter G full page of that for 21 days.
Oh, okay. Well, that couldn't hurt.
That'll get it set in more. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I will. I'll start that one tonight.
Okay.
I tend to do this best at night. So, yeah, I'll do that one starting tonight. So, you talked about the young lady that you encountered at the restaurant and having a problem with her leg. I also know that you were able to pick up on, I think, an ovarian problem with a woman as well. Can you tell that story, please?
Yeah, so back at the time, I had just finished an advanced training on, looking for health situations with people in their handwriting, and I was surprised to see it, and I thought, well, do I dare say anything? And I said, well, I asked the lady, I said, well, how personal do you want me to get? She says, oh, you can tell me anything. I said, well, how long have you had this ovarian cyst? And she looks at me, her jaw dropped open. She couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it either, even though I knew that that's what that was. And so it's all these things show up in our handwriting. The great thing is the majority of those just takes a change in handwriting to impact starting to change for whatever those situations are. You can even see when people are, using drugs.
Wow.
That shows up in their handwriting. If they've had a broken bone, something like that. But the thing, so it can be used in health conditions, and for all these things, I'm not saying, hey, if you've got this health condition, just change your handwriting, don't go to the doctor. I'm saying, no, go ahead, go to the doctor, do whatever you're going to do, but do this in addition. You'll make better, faster results as a result of it.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Now, we actually have our first caller. So we're going to take a caller and do an InnerSpeak clearing for a minute. We're going to take a little break from handwriting analysis. So our first caller is area code 828. Who am I speaking with, please?
Yes, this is Stan. I'm in the Rocky Mountains. I'm in the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina. How you doing?
Well, hey, Stan. How are you today? And how can I help you?
Well, I just tuned into your show, and I'm not familiar with the way you operate, but I've been a sort of a blog talk a visitor for many years now. So do I start with a question? How's that?
Well, I tell you what my work does. My work is called InnerSpeak. It's a channeled modality that I brought in 2002, and I've been using ever since. And what it does is it helps you to get to the core of where you set up some sort of a block for yourself in your life. And once we identify where you set it up and what the story is around that, of course, you're never your story, but it will tell us what we need to do to clear it away. And so we'll do a couple of quick clearings, and by the time we get done, you should be cleared from that block. So is there anything in your life, Stan, that's not going exactly the way you want it?
Okay. Yeah, I guess so. A couple of things could throw out there to see what you get.
Okay.
One is this relationship I'm in. I'm a bit challenged with that. The other thing is that I'm 64 years old, and I'm somewhat soon retired. I've got a 3-year-old. Okay,
mm-hmm.
I know there's something I'm to be doing next. Has to do with my gifts. And I feel like I'm struggling a little bit to get going on that.
Okay.
Not that I'm stuck totally, but maybe I am. I don't know. But if you have anything on that, maybe that's something we could look at.
All right. Well, let's look at that because I started by pulling the very first card out of the InnerSpeak deck is the red card, and it's where you set this block up. And this block actually goes back to your own gestation when you were in your mother's womb. So so it probably is a struggle actually to give birth to this new path that you're ready to give birth to. So let's see what the setup is around that. So the orange cards are the setup cards, and I'm going to pull 2 of those cards. And the first one says servitude, felt powerless. And the second one says suicide. So don't know what was going on, with your mom while you were still in her womb, but it looks like you actually maybe tried to leave. Your soul just wasn't really settled in during the second trimester of gestation. You were feeling kind of powerless. That's surely what that suicide card means. It's not necessarily a literal suicide, although it could have been. I mean, there may have been somebody in your mother's life that took their own life. But the next card is the yellow card, and that's what this did to your soul. And it says lack of forgiveness is blocking resolution. So there's an aspect of yourself that actually goes back to when you were a fetus that is still kind of sitting in judgment about that whole situation. And because you haven't forgiven yourself or your mother or whoever was around that had to do with this, it's kind of holding you back from being able to give birth to a new path. So there is the blue card, and the blue card is the stuck belief that your soul internalized before you were even born. So let me pull a blue card, and it's going to be this one right here. And it's a belief in struggle. I have to struggle to earn love. I have to struggle to earn. It's just a belief in struggle in your life, which is not appropriate. So let's clear this. I'm going to pull 3 of the green cards. They're the clearing cards. And let's see, there's 1 of them, 2, and 3. Okay, so the first card says to connect heart to heart with that little boy that was you in your mother's womb at about 6 months of gestation. And I want you just to connect heart to heart with him, and I want you to ask him, sweetie, what can I do to help you? And just listen and see what he needs.
Okay.
All right? And now I want you to ask that your vibration be raised as high as is humanly possible for you right here, right now. We want to put you out of resonance with this belief in struggle that you created in the womb. So just ask that your vibration be raised. And what's holding you back, Stan, is you have, if when you were still in your mother's womb, what this little aspect of you needed before he was born was he didn't feel safe. He needed safety, and so he created a transparent egg around his field, and that transparent egg has been holding you back all the way through your life, keeping you from being able to manifest the things that you really want. You put the thought out there into the universe, but it doesn't get there because it hits that saran wrap, that's surrounding your field. So I just want you to ask that transparent egg surrounding your field be dissolved.
Dissolved. Okay.
Yeah, and then connect with your higher self, and let's just activate the vibration of safety in your heart center and your divine line, because it's just a vibration. And you receive blessings for having the courage to call in and do this work. So I'm going to pull 2 of the violet cards, and let's see what your blessings are today. The first one says, centeredness and calmness that will enable you to see and accomplish your purpose. And your second blessing is the blessing of courage to follow your heart's command. And it's gratitude that owns every clearing. So just take a moment now and give thanks to your angels, your teachers, and your guides. And I thank you for calling in today and just having the courage to get into the things that are holding you back, because you do have a bright future, and there is something new and expanded that I see in your field. I can't tell what it is, but it's there for you, and you can reach it now. So thank you, Stan.
Okay, Jean, I appreciate that. This is very cool. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Okay,
and we have another caller, area code 803. So 803, who are we speaking with?
Hi, Jean. It's Hillary.
Hey, Hillary, how are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I am wonderful. And how can we help you today?
All right. So I have been working a lot around committing to certain projects. And I find that even though I've blocked off time and have the time to sit down and focus on these projects, I'm not actually doing them. I'm very easily distracted, and I would like to clear that block of whatever that is distracting me.
Okay, I'm going to do an InnerSpeak clearing for you, and then I'm going to get Craig to step on the line, because we were talking a little bit just a few minutes ago about how you can change your handwriting and finish your task. So just take a moment, surrender to Spirit, and ask for help. And let's just see what we can clear. Wow, this one goes to conception, gestation, or birth for you, and this is a birth issue. So let's see what was going on, the setup around your birth that is causing you to not be able to bring projects to completion. Okay, so the 2 set of cards that I just pulled for you, the first one says punished for another's misdeeds, and the second one says loss of faith in self, others, or God. And let's see what this did to your soul at the time of your birth. So it says your ability to be in relationship. So this could be your relationship with your projects.
Yes.
We want to take it kind of literally. And there is stuck belief. The stuck belief is, I am separate. So I have a feeling you just kind of disconnect. You get partway there, and you just kind of disconnect. Do you know anything at all about the circumstances surrounding your birth?
I have been, there's potential that the cord was wrapped around my neck. I have not been able to confirm that with my mother or my father. I don't have a very good relation with.
So your ability to be in relationship has been disrupted since your birth. Interesting. Okay, let's clear this bad boy. There's one clearing card. There is the next clearing card, and then this one. All right, so the first clearing card says to go back and find little baby Hillary at the moment of her birth. And she is upset. I have a feeling you came out kicking, screaming, and crying. And I need you to help her to vent her anger, her fear, and her judgment. And just let it all go like sparks coming off a sparkler on the 4th of July. And now, this aspect of you, this angry baby at birth, is overshadowing your identity. So I want you to pretend like you're looking at yourself in a big mirror, and you'll see this aspect of yourself at birth, and she's just overshadowing you. And what I want you to do is just gently blow on the image that you see in the mirror, and just blow that aspect of yourself away so that you can see who you truly are. And now I want you to ask that the transparent egg that's surrounding your field be dissolved, because it's what's keeping you. It's that barrier that you bump up against every time you get close to giving birth to the project or birth to the completion of the project. So just ask that be dissolved. And let's see what blessings the angels have for you. I'm going to pull 2 of the violet cards. One of them says release from overwhelm, and the final one says synchronistic flow and good fortune. So it's gratitude that owns this clearing. Just take a moment and give thanks. And just repeat after me. I know who I am in truth.
I know who I am in truth.
I know what I am in truth.
I know what I am in truth.
I know how I serve in truth.
I know how I serve in truth.
I am here.
I am here. I am here.
I am here. I am here. Good job. All right. And thank you so much for, but don't hang up, because, Craig, so Hillary's having issues completing things. And wasn't that the letter T that you were talking about that has to do with that?
Yes. It would be easiest if I actually had a handwriting sample to see what other things might be impacting that. But yes, the small letter T has to do with a lot of things. One of them is being able to complete things. The other is self-confidence. And the other one is fear. So when it's crossed at the top, it reduces your fear level way down. So I would do a full page of the small letter T crossed at the top for 21 consecutive days. If you miss a day, you start the 21 days over. And
if you're like me, don't miss a day.
The first time I did it took me 69 days. But there are people that have done it in 21 days. The other thing if I saw how you wrote your capital I, I'll bet that it is different than I'll call it the proper cursive I, but that has to do with relationships, male and female, and also be able to relate to other people better, get things done easier. that may be hindering your ability to be able to complete things on a subconscious level, and so therefore that holds you back as well in being able to do that stuff. So
I'm definitely inconsistent letter T's. I'm inconsistent in my letter T's. Sometimes it's in the middle, sometimes it's at the top.
Okay. Yeah. If you, when you sign up for my newsletter, I also will send you a copy of the proper cursive alphabet so you can see how the best way is to make those letters.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and so listeners, if you go, just like Craig was saying, if you go to his website, professionallifesolutions.com, and sign up for his newsletter, he'll send you a thing, it's a document that will show you how you should be making your letters. You know, those of you that are my age, we were taught this in school. We had to practice our penmanship, and it was always in cursive, and it was always done on specially lined papers that we were able to make sure that we matched. And when we had little dotted lines we had to follow to make sure we made the letters right. Well, they just don't do that in school anymore. I don't think they even teach cursive in school anymore, do they, Craig?
Yeah, not very many. I was just talking to my mentor over the weekend, and she indicated that Colorado and Utah are two of the few states that still do teach cursive and are keeping it in the curriculum.
Wow. You know, I look at my grandchildren's handwriting, and it's obvious to me, even I was looking at my daughter's handwriting, it's obvious to me that there wasn't a lot of time spent on trying to influence creating the letters in a proper way. And so what is this doing to our younger generation, in your opinion?
So I believe that it's impacting them in a lot of ways, but, you know, relating to other people is one huge thing. You know, everybody, pretty much we've gone to texting, email, etc., and the ability to communicate in written word is really being lost. And there's so many things that our writing affects. It's just unbelievable. You know, I'm not saying that you're supposed to do your homework in cursive and write books in cursive. That would be great, but, you know, for efficiency's sake, you know, use computerization when you do, but at the very least have a daily, you know, journal that you can write in cursive handwriting. I mean, that's therapeutic. It's like, you know, people exercise, they eat good, they take vitamins, whatever. All those things are, you know, helpful, and this is just one more thing that could be really helpful in affecting change in a really easy way.
That's really quite interesting. And you know, I think this was on Facebook, I saw not too long ago where somebody had posted that us grandparents can actually now start having a secret code that the other generations won't even understand if we just write in cursive.
True. Yeah. There's even so I was in talking with my mentor over the week, and she had mentioned, and I'm going to get a copy of this, that she's now written a book about computer writing. For example, you know, when people are sending an email or texting, whatever, if they use the small letter I instead of a capital I, that the small letter I basically says that they don't exist. Versus if they're using a capital I, now they're claiming their full self. So it's real interesting, you know, stuff even in using computer. You know,
yeah, and you know, with texting, we tend to not even spell out complete words.
Right, we just abbreviate and use, you know, really interesting abbreviations.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is quite interesting. So listeners, his website is professionallifesolutions.com. And if you would like to avail yourself of the InnerSpeak clearing, we still have time today. The telephone number to call is 657-383-1895. And don't forget to press 1, and that will make sure that the producer knows that you're in the queue. So feel free to call on in. And, you know, I think I'm going to take advantage of your advice on the letter G and to make sure that that I am doing everything that I can do to keep money flowing into my life. So do you have any kind of other advice for any of the listeners that you might want to share today?
Sure. So there's another simple thing that people can do when they get in a situation where they're stressed out or they're worrying about something, and especially, it's an exercise they could do at night before they go to bed to kind of calm things down. It's a little exercise that we call push-pulls, which is basically, making a mark that goes up and down like a sawtooth, so sharp points on the top and bottom, and just do that. Goes down, at least a half a page, but maybe a full page, and that'll help calm things down, and they'll find interesting results. I think I told you one time I was in a doctor's office, and there was a toddler, and they're just throwing a fit. And I didn't have any paper or pen or anything, and I thought, it came to my mind, I'll just do some of these push-pulls. So I just used my finger and started drawing it in the air, and after about 2 minutes, everything just calmed down. And
Wow.
I've used that on a number of occasions, so that was really helpful for me.
That is, that's perfect. And so, I would highly recommend that you go out on Craig's site and sign up for his newsletter so that you can get his tips as far as how to improve your life through your handwriting, and then take advantage of some of the tools that he's given us today, and maybe even schedule yourself a consultation with him so that you can start getting coaching, because this is a really unique way to do life coaching through actually, working with a person's handwriting. I don't think there's a lot of people that are actually doing that, and it's very effective. I know, because I've been doing this with Craig now for a couple of months. So check it out, folks. And I also invite you, I'm doing a business coaching seminar. The seminar is called Thrive, How to Make Your Business Thrive, and it's going to be on June the 24th. From 1 to 4 in the afternoon, and you can sign up for that on the classes page of my website, which is InnerSpeak or JeanneAdrienne.com/class/. And the cost for that is $44. I'm also offering at this time a webinar called Reconnecting Soul, and it's 142 DNA activations. We're in a time of unprecedented change right now. There is more energy coming onto this planet than has in hundreds, thousands of years, who knows, a long time. And so many of us are feeling that. And in order to take best advantage of all the positive capabilities that you can do in this energy, it really makes a lot of sense to make sure that you've activated all the latent aspects of your DNA. So that's what this webinar, Reconnecting Soul, is all about. And it's a series of videos that you watch, and it's 6 of them, and it's $144 to get all 142 activations, and I highly recommend it. There's been a lot of really great feedback from what people have experienced from doing this webinar, so check it out. That's also on the classes page of my website. And you also know that every Monday, in addition to this show, I do Power Talk, which is an internet TV show. It's on newearth.international, and there's a link to that on the radio show page of my website. And the one that was today, which is in replay now, and it's on my YouTube channel, I interviewed Nicole Myers-Henderson. She's a medical intuitive. And she was able to actually look inside the body, remote view inside the body, and diagnose issues. And she did one of those live on the TV show this morning. Next week it's going to be Maureen St. Germain, and our focus is going to be on sacred geometry and how you can use sacred geometry to create the realities that you want in your life. So I'm going to put one more shout out before we run out of time. If you want a reading or clearing, you can call in now The number is area code 657-383-1895. And we will wait to see if we have any last-minute callers. And Craig, is there any last-minute information that you want to give to the listeners before we end the show?
Well, just to be open to looking at having handwriting as one more tool. Change your handwriting, change your life. Simple and easy.
Absolutely. And that is such a valid tip. So I want to thank everybody for listening today. You guys are wonderful. I love your support. And call me again next week, same time, same place, same number. I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, remember, people who take responsibility for their lives create the reality they desire. Ciao.
This is your first fish.
I got one.
Father's Day, a day to say thanks to the most important guy in the world. This year, get him what he really wants at Cabela's Father's Day sale. Get 20% off Cabela's Reels and Fly Reels, 25% off Sig Sauer Elite Performance Ammunition, and earn $25 in Cabela's bucks when you spend $150 or more in store. Come to Cabela's Father's Day sale, in store and online at Cabela's.com.
Staples knows that when the leave-behinds for your sales call get left behind at your office, it's time. When you need to print 30 pages and you're 300 miles from the office, it's time. And when the intern packed the Harrington file, not the Farrington file.
Oh, my bad.
It's definitely time. And it's times like these when you can count on Staples. Access your files from email, the cloud, or USB, and then print, copy, fax, or scan them, and get back to business fast. Visit your nearby Staples. It's pro time.